Welcome to another episode of Wheel of Horror, the podcast where two best friends spin a wheel once a week. It chooses the horror movie, and they discuss it. Today we're talking about the 1988 film Friday the 13th Part 7, The New Blood, which was directed by John Carl Buechler. I'm your co-host, Alec.
I'm Erik, and I am so excited to bring Joe Testa into this one. Joe Testa, welcome back to the show.
Thank you, guys. Always good to be here.
This is so weird because, Joe, we always have you on for, the best movies, the critically acclaimed, so much to talk about, and then there's this.
Creepshow was a good that was a good, we warmed them up with Creepshow, and now it's okay, now we're getting into it.
Yeah, I was thinking the same thing, and there's less pressure, I feel like, sometimes when we're talking about these, classics, I really feel a lot of pressure to wax poetic, but with this one, less so.
Yeah, this is our Lake Placid episode, Erik. It's just kind of
So we want to talk about Bill Pullman for a half an hour? Is that what we're going to do?
No, I just this is a weird movie because I think there's a little bit of I don't know, we have ties to this movie, Erik and I, from our childhood.
Yeah, from our childhood.
Yeah.
So we'll give you a quick rundown, which hopefully doesn't make us sound like weirdos. We have the biggest crush on Lar Park Lincoln from this exact time in history. We've always been how is this girl? It's oh, is she like Lar Park Lincoln? It's yeah, like Lar Park Lincoln. Really? Wow. That's how we've always that's our 10. That's our 11 out of 1 to 11.
Hey, fair enough. I mean, I will say, when Alec shared the upcoming movies that you guys had lined up, I did ask, Friday the 13th Part 7, huh?
Not in order at all.
Don't get me wrong, I'm a huge Jason fan. I grew up with these movies. I was born on Friday the 13th. I was born the day Friday the 13th Part 3 hit theaters.
Oh, no way.
So if you want to do the math, you could figure out how old I am. But yeah, I was wondering why Part 7 was the one you guys decided to tackle. And yeah, that's awesome that you guys have this connection to it. These movies were such staples when I was growing up during sleepovers. Which Friday the 13th do we want to watch? Part 6 was actually my favorite, Jason Lives, but Part 5 is the one me and my friends had a connection over. So I'm looking forward to hearing more about how you guys connect to this one.
Well, Alec, do you want to tell the story about your 30th birthday real quick?
Yeah, so we got 2 stories for this one. So my 30th birthday was awesome because Erik, he flew out to LA. We went to Disneyland, we went to casinos, we did all this
nuts
right before COVID. So it was this is awesome. And he got me one of those cameos from Lar Park Lincoln. And she's in the back of a car, just hey, Alec, I remember what it's like to be 30. You're having fun. It was so awesome.
Let me see if I can play a quick hit from it real quick.
That is amazing.
Hey, Alec, I hear there's a happy 30th birthday coming up in just a couple of days, so I wanted to drop in and say happy birthday. Gosh, I loved it when I turned 30. Those were my best years. They were fantastic. I had already shot Friday the 13th by my 30th birthday.
I just wanted to share that real quick. little quick hit from Lar Park Lincoln, our childhood crush.
Yeah, so that was a huge deal for me. So I was freaking out. That was one of the best gifts I've ever gotten, Erik.
You drove me from the airport. It's I can't wait for you to stop driving. The second he stopped driving, we got in his apartment. I'm dude, look at this. Look at this video I got you. Happy birthday.
So that was big. That was I love that so much. And then the other one, which is a little bit more about the movie, is one of my college professors. I went to Suffolk University in Boston. I won't say his name because it's a pretty bad story, but he basically told us that, I used to be one of the DPs for Friday the 13th Part 7, and I opened up the film reel outside basically when I was transporting it, and I destroyed 12 hours worth of footage or whatever, the whole day's worth of footage. He destroyed it. And he got fired from the set or whatever. And I just always remember that. I was dude, I fucking love that movie, sort of thing. So it was so cool to he just, it was such a throwaway thing. He's I was on Friday 13th Part 7,
The New Blood.
Yeah, destroyed it. And I was dude, I love that movie. And he's just yeah, I got fired from it. So I was oh shit. All right. So those are
Wow.
little stories about that movie, I guess.
That's awesome.
It holds a very, very special place in our heart, Joe.
Yeah,
So
no, fair enough. I mean, this whole series holds a special place in my heart. Even though Part Seven probably falls, not at the bottom, but in the lower half.
You could
You
say
know,
anything,
you
Joe.
could,
yeah,
yeah, Joe. Like you're in a safe space. Like we're okay.
it's still a fun one, especially when you're a kid, because I feel like the appeal of this one is there's a character with superpowers and she could
Yeah.
actually fight Jason. She could go head to head with Jason. It's kind of like how a lot of fans love Nightmare on Elm Street 3, The Dream Warriors. I think it's for the same
Mm,
reason.
Yeah, man, and that's exactly why I think this one stands out. Is because I mean I know you know this, Eric, and you probably do too, Joe. But they were supposed to make this like Carrie versus Jason. That was like the
Mhm.
idea behind this. And initially it was supposed to be Freddy versus Jason because I think
yeah,
New Line and Paramount had just like kind of started joining forces. But they're
it
like,
fell
well,
through. Yeah.
yeah, like it always did for that time. But then they're like, all right, why don't we do like the next best thing? We'll do like a Carrie knockoff. But it's different. Every other movie is just generic teenagers getting murdered. This one, it's just mano y mano, actual, gives like fucking fucks Jason up. Like I loved it.
With plenty of generic teenagers being
Right,
murdered.
right. So
There's 40 minutes of the movie that you really don't need to watch
no.
because it's just back to back teenagers getting killed,
It's
Yeah.
funny.
and then it finishes the story. Like
If you talk to someone who had never seen a Friday the 13th movie, but you ask them to describe the characters, I think they would describe these characters perfectly.
Oh
Like
yeah.
they're all here, like the bitchy girl,
yeah,
the nerd who writes like sci-fi stories, the stoner, they're all the archetypes are here.
Right. That's the thing. So it's familiar but new. The new
and
blood.
and it also shows the last movie, like the same movie you're gonna watch, like
Mhm.
in the first 30 seconds of the movie.
I love
Like
that
the last,
though.
yeah, it's like what happened last time. It's like he got put in the bottom of the
Dude,
lake.
that's what it's like. It's like an old movie. It's like last time on Friday the
yeah,
13th.
yeah.
I will say, I'm gonna probably say a few unkind things about this movie, but
Please.
when it starts, oh man, and you have Crazy Ralph from Friday the 13th Part 1 and 2. He's the narrator.
I love that.
So he's going through the highlights of the first 6 Fridays, and oh man, that's like just slipping into a warm bath for me.
Yeah. No, it's true. It's so like, yeah, because it wraps up the whole series. Listen, anybody that's coming to see Seven, they've seen the other ones. Like, let's be
Mhm,
real. But it is nice to be like, all right, here's where we're at.
mhm,
Here's where we're going. But then you're right. It does start off with what is this? Like, who are these people? They live on Camp Crystal Lake. I thought it was a camp. Like all this stuff. And then you get the most like generic, like daytime soap opera kind of like, I don't like you. It's like, stop drinking, like sort of like argument which I just love. I think it's so fun. No, it's not funny. It's terrible subject matter, but the way that it's portrayed is just so like comically stupid.
I just love when she's like, "I wish you were dead," and like 4 seconds later, she's like, "No, Daddy, no." It's like you did this. You did this. Like,
Yeah.
Do
Yeah.
do we even dare get into the continuity errors and the screwed up
no,
timeline in the
we don't.
Friday the 13th series?
This is a half an hour podcast, Joe. We
Exactly.
don't
Yeah,
have
fair
like.
enough. And as someone who has asked questions about this series for decades now, there's no reward in asking these questions.
But I think this one does like a cool job, especially when at the end they open up the dresser and they see like mass murder and like Jason stuff like that, and they actually mention him by name, and it's like, oh, they're kind of wrapping this into this one, but this is its like own story. Like this is a self-contained one where you look at like the previous three, that's the Tommy Jarvis like trilogy or
Mhm.
whatever. And I guess the first two are like slightly tied together with that Alice character, but yeah.
3, 4, excuse me, 2, 3, and 4 actually all take place on the same weekend, which is
Oh,
really weird.
I didn't know that. Okay.
Yeah.
That's so four is the one with Crispin Glover. That's the final chapter, right?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. So yeah. So this one, I don't know. I think like there's potential for a sequel for this one. It's just completely new characters and an admirable match for Jason before Freddy vs. Jason.
It's like a Kiss tour. It's like the farewell tour, the end of the world tour. It's like it's never the final chapter of Kiss. They're always gonna tour until they drop. And it's like the Friday the 13th movies are like Kiss. They're just gonna keep doing the last film.
This one is notable for a few reasons. Maybe the most important being we have the first appearance of Kane Hodder as Jason, and
Yeah.
of course he'd be Jason until Jason X until 2002, I believe.
Yeah, man, and it's noticeable. I mean, like, the stunts that he goes through in this are
Mhm.
intense. I mean, the fucking roof collapses onto him. Like, I
Yeah,
mean,
there's no way to really like fake that. Like that's definitely like wood, even if it's like softer wood. That's really falling on him.
oh yeah. I watched a little like behind the scenes documentary with the director and Kane Hodder, and that was the most nervous he had ever been for that scene. He's just like, I mean,
Well, yeah, keep going.
I was
Sorry.
like, see what happens. And then I guess also the other one is when he falls through the stairs. And then when he gets lit on fire, that was a world record at the time for how much he got on fire.
Well, I mean, the production budget isn't that good where you would feel safe to do these things. It's like, are you sure? It's like, no, 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 no. You saw the dock collapse. It's like that wasn't controlled at all. Like that looked like he just fell off the dock the second you collapse. Like I don't feel safe. It's like we're working our best. We're spending a lot of money. Like no, clearly it's not the best production budget.
That
Yeah.
whole final battle is pretty fantastic, and the fact that Kane Hodder did that fire stunt years after a fire stunt almost killed him is
Oh.
pretty impressive.
Oh, damn. I didn't know that. Which movie was that on? Do you know?
I'm not sure what movie it is, but there's a documentary about him called, I'm not sure what it's called, but there's a documentary about Kane Hodder, and he was doing a fire stunt that went terribly wrong, and he
Hmm.
almost died, and he's covered in scars.
Ooh.
So the
Jeez.
fact that he was still willing to do this is pretty impressive.
Yeah. And then it's a world record. It was 40 seconds of straight flames, which is just crazy. So
Was very uncomfortable.
so well deserved that they called him back. And
Yeah, respect the man. That's impressive.
yeah.
Is Kane Hodder your favorite Jason? Do you guys have a dog in that fight?
Kane Hodder is the only Jason I know.
Okay.
I put it that way.
Yeah, I mean, for me too, it's like he's the one that stands out so much. I think because it was noticeable in Freddy vs. Jason, like very noticeable how much of a presence he had. But I don't know. I don't really.
Was that him in Freddy vs. Jason though?
No, no.
Okay, okay.
So that
Right.
was a big
That's
controversy.
that's probably one of the saddest Hollywood stories that Kane Hodder was passed over for Freddy versus Jason.
Yeah.
Yeah,
What about
yeah.
you, Joe? Is he yours or?
You know, it's kind of hard to decide, but I think he wasn't Jason in any of my favorite Jason movies, so it's
Right.
difficult. But I think he brings a lot to the role. I think he brings a real intensity and just the way he's built. He looks like a wrestler, you know?
Yeah, he turns really sharp too for his
Yeah, yeah,
size.
yeah. I love his body language, and this is probably his finest hour, especially the last like half hour of this movie.
Joe, I had a question for you because I don't think I've seen 4
Hmm.
or 5, at
Oh.
least of recent. But is this the first Friday the 13th that does the sleeping bag against the tree?
Yes,
Okay.
and Jason X does it too, but it's
Yeah, they
like
do that. Yeah, I remember that.
like a
Yeah.
joke.
And the
Um,
remake does it too.
oh, but I've seen the remake the least out of all of these. Eric, for you, I would definitely say check out part 4. That's one of my favorites.
Yeah. Okay.
Mhm.
Okay. I get on that. Yeah, I actually like the remake, Joe. I don't know. You only saw that once.
I saw it a few times, but
Yeah.
for me, that the
You're like
Jason
this isn't
flavor.
my childhood anymore. Like.
I mean, I try not to be too snarky about it, but when I want that Jason flavor, I want that kind of 80s nostalgia.
100%. Like this is for me, it has to be an 80s Jason movie. I don't like Jason Goes to Hell very much, and Jason X
Mhm.
is just a joke. But yeah, it
Yeah.
has to take place in that gritty 80s kind of. I don't
Like
know.
the lines like, hey, I just got to go shake it off real quick, like or something. I forget what he said. Like shake it twice real quick, like going to the bathroom. It's like God, only in the '80s would you ever get that corny.
I said I wouldn't talk about the timeline too much, but if you go if you go through these movies, we're probably like well into the 90s or the 2000s because there's so many leaps in time.
Well,
Part 5 takes place, or
yeah.
excuse me, part 2 takes place 5 years after part 1, and then part 5 takes place probably like 10 years after part 4, and this one takes place in an unknown amount of time after part 6.
Well,
It's
she's a little
absolutely
girl at the beginning, and then she's like
exactly.
20 or 18. We'll say
Wait,
16
So
or 17.
actually, I have a question then, Joe, about this movie with the timeline because there's one thing that I was like, this makes no sense. So they say that. So how old is she supposed to be? Like 20, like 1920?
18, I'd say at least.
Okay.
Yeah.
So they say there's one part where the mother's listening to Dr. Cruz's tapes, and he says, "This is Dr. Cruz with the whatever file, 1965, blah blah blah." So That means that, like, how old is this girl? What year does this take place then?
That means one didn't happen.
The simple answer is these movies were made fast and cheap, and nobody cared about continuity.
And now they're, like, successful and looked back upon, and people are picking them apart. They're like, "Fuck." Like, it's like, "We
Yes,
didn't think of
and
this stuff."
like I said, you won't be rewarded for asking these questions.
I know. Damn it.
Well, I got one thing to read. So if you go on the Wikipedia page and go into the production tab, there's one line that had me laughing out loud, and it was Socks, who considered the Jason versus Carrie concept to be an interesting idea, wanted the installment to be more respectable than the previous entries in the series. Haney stated that she wanted it to be like unlike any other Friday the 13th movie. This is the best part. She wanted it to win an Academy Award.
Come on.
Several high-profile directors were considered for the job. Read it. It's hilarious. Could you imagine like going into this movie and it's just going to be like The Exorcist? It's going to be perfect, like Carrie with Jason all at once. It's going to be beautiful. It's like, no, nay, did not happen.
You know, it's surprising. I think it's pretty tame too. It's not very violent.
Well, the thing is, this was probably the most censored of all the Friday the 13th movies. The director, John Carl Buechler, he comes from the world of special effects, and he was going to go all out. There actually is footage that you could track down of all these death scenes uncut, but unfortunately the footage has really deteriorated and you can't insert it back into the movie. But the gore effects were going to be really elaborate, probably the best the series has ever seen. And it's really a shame what they did to it. They really like castrated this movie. I mean, even the main bad guy, Terry Kaiser from Weekend at Bernie's,
Yeah.
like you're just waiting for him to get it. And then all of a sudden it's like this weird jump cut and he just kind of falls over and it's like, what?
Yeah.
So it's really sad. The MPAA were really going after horror movies at this time. And, it's not that I'm a gore hound and I need buckets of blood to appreciate these movies, but a lot of work was put into this. And the fact that it was all just kind of left on the cutting room floor is really sad.
And your friend opened the reel that could have been 12 hours of perfect special effects, Alec. We don't know.
Yeah, no, yeah, it's true. They could have been good shots. But the other thing is there's a lot of nudity. There's so much nudity in this movie. So that's what's weird. It's like they cut the gore, but upped the nudity. So I don't know. I mean, I guess like all of the Friday 13th movies have nudity, but this one I'm like, wow, there's a lot. Like
there was a lot, yeah.
Which I'm fine with, but I was just like, whoa. Like,
too much for me. Too much for me.
Too much for you.
I don't know.
And the other thing I noticed is Jason breaks his like little rule about sex. Like he kills that couple in the beginning. They didn't do anything. They were just driving, and then they're like, "Oh, our fucking car broke down." They're walking. All of a sudden, he's like, "I'm gonna kill both of them."
Well, I will say it's worth checking out if you could find it on YouTube or wherever. The extended gore footage is really impressive and really extreme.
Yeah, damn, that sucks. That they cut that out. Ah, well, yeah, I gotta check it out.
I have one question. Why is it called The New Blood? I'm sorry. I'm just like stuck up. Is it because it's like starting something new? I don't get it. Is she blood related? No. Like, why the new blood? Joe, answer me that. I need you to answer.
I wish I could, but yeah, it's. I think it's just a generic title, as generic as some of these teenage victims.
yeah. I don't know what could be.
Why is it The New Blood, Alec?
I don't know.
Give me your best answer to that.
I think it is probably because it's like, a new victims, a new group of victims or whatever, like the new blood for him to kill. That's the best I can think of.
All right, that was decent.
Someone said, let's call it The New Beginning, and then someone else said, but Friday the 13th 5 is called that. So they said, how about The New Blood?
Yeah. The ending though is absolutely atrocious. Like
it's bad.
It sucks. It's first of all, there's no even cliffhanger where it's like you hear like a like
you
do. You do at the end?
You do hear that, yeah.
Oh.
I did.
I missed it maybe. But like I'm expecting to see the mask at the bottom of the lake or like his eye open or some bullshit, but nothing. You don't get anything for this one. It's just they ride away and you're just like, okay.
How would you end it, Alec?
I mean, probably the classic, like just seeing his mask underwater or whatever, but their story could continue. That's why I need to know, Erik, do you have a sequel to this movie?
I really don't, but I haven't. I mean, ending wise, I would have liked to see kind of a, he's without his hockey mask again. What does he do again? Does he just free ball it like without a mask, or does he put the two kind of mask back on? I think it'd be cool to see him put the two on again. Like where he just wears like a burlap sack or whatever the hell it was.
Right, right.
I think that would be a cool little, ooh, he's back to two again. That'd be it. No, I was just a sequel idea. No, I mean, like do a Halloween 2 kind of thing where he's just, they don't know where he is. He's maskless and they're in the hospital and it's just like a hospital Friday the 13th. Probably your best angle if you want to keep the story going. You don't want to go from like, oh yeah, we're riding in an ambulance to like 5 years later. Lar Park Lincoln and this guy aren't even together anymore. And she's in like Wisconsin. And like, you got to go like directly from that,
right.
I think.
No, yeah, you're right.
I just need to take a minute to vent about
oh my God.
about the abusive father, the ghost of the abusive father coming to Tina's rescue at the end of the movie. In all honesty, I think it's maybe one of the worst things that this series has to offer.
Horrible.
I mean,
he goes from hitting the mom to like saving the day. Like that's his next thing.
all we know about this character is that
abusive.
He's an abusive drunk.
Yeah, I know, and he's been laying dormant for like 20 years waiting to come up and save the day at the last second. It's so stupid.
Nobody retrieved his body after it fell into Crystal Lake.
Yeah, why? It's nothing happened. Like it was a dock accident. They easily could have got his body. It's not like it's the ocean. Oh,
yeah.
It's so stupid. It's painful how stupid it is.
What would be better, like right there at the lake that they did?
Dude, just have them throw him in the fucking lake. I don't know. She's got psychic powers.
Yeah, it deprives Tina of the victory. She had this great battle with Jason, and then the ghost of her abusive father gets the KO.
Yeah. No, you're right. That like really stole the thunder.
I mean, Freddy didn't take out Jason that easily.
No, it's so ridiculous. Yeah, you're right. It 100% hurts the credibility of the entire fight. I can't think of a worse moment in the entire series either. It's so out of left field, and I think the director also hated it too. He had another idea, but they scrapped it.
I know at least they were going to put some prosthetic makeup on him to make him look like a zombie, or he has been rotting in the water for like 10 years.
Yeah.
But for whatever reason, they didn't go in that direction either, and the whole idea should have been scrapped.
Yeah. I don't know. I like that. I like that. Was it the psychic powers that brings him back to life, right?
Which is weird because does Tina have the ability to bring the dead back to life? I always interpreted it as she could just move things. She's telekinetic, and I know it seems like she brought Jason back to life, but the way I took that is she just woke him up because Jason can't die.
Right. Yeah.
So if she could bring her father back, could she bring back all Jason's victims?
Oh, but so that means that Jason has just been sitting there choking underwater for like 10 years? It's like Wolverine. Like it just keeps regenerating, and he's just sitting there like choking to death for 10 years,
or in hibernation of some kind.
Oh my God!
He's definitely like decomposing to some degree because he comes out and his back's all like showing in his face.
Oh, can I just say this is my favorite look for Jason?
Yeah. I'd say this is like the prime Jason right here.
Mm-hmm. I think that's another reason why Kane Hodder is a popular Jason. All his Jasons look really cool.
Yeah.
I think.
Yeah. Oh my God! Like we get to see his back spine and everything like that, and he looks like a dinosaur almost, like some prehistoric being. I love it.
Can I just say something ridiculous I think this is from part 6, when he goes to put Jason back in the water, the rowboat he's using in this giant boulder. Like think about what that would do to a rowboat that size. Like just think about a boulder. It's like obviously it's styrofoam, it's a prop. Right. But like I'm just like thinking like watching him row a boulder that's gonna hold him like that boat would just totally just go under.
I'm happy to talk about Jason Lives whenever you want.
Okay. Not to, yeah.
I know we should we eventually will get to all of them, but I don't know. I kind of like want to like look at Dr. Cruz and the mother's relationship. The entire time they're calling each other like Dr. Cruz, and she's like Mrs. Shepard. They never call each other by their first names. Why are they all up there together? Like, what was the plan here? Like, it's like, all right, if we reintroduce her to where the trauma is, maybe she'll get better, even though it's so clear she does have psychic powers. Like, what the fuck's going on?
Dr. Cruz is going for the double kill. He is going to expose and use Tina's abilities for his own like scientific discovery, 1. And 2, he's going to get with Tina's mom. He's going for both. the cabin in the woods, mom, daughter, all that stuff. He knows what he's doing. He uses someone at the end. Remember, he's a bad person. Like clearly,
He's a
he
bad
uses
guy.
someone as like a bot, like as like a human shield.
The mom, right?
Yeah, yeah. I think it was the mom. Yeah, it all
Yeah.
kind of blurs together.
I know. I'm trying to think. I don't think I have a favorite.
I think it was one of the girls. I don't think it was the mom. I don't remember, but
A couple scenes I laughed at is when he teleports into the water and just grabs that girl after he kills like that like yuppie guy, and then she's like, "What's going on?" And he's just in the water and just grabs her. It's just like so ridiculous. And then later he uses that same body, the yuppie guy with the axe through his head. He uses it for like 2 displays where the body just drops like out of nowhere, and I'm like, so that means that the body dropped. He killed that person, took the body again, put it somewhere else, and then threw it again at them. I love it. It's so ridiculous. Oh, I love it. I love it.
yeah.
There's a documentary called Crystal Lake Memories, which is a pretty fantastic documentary about the entire series. And they talked about, as far as a sequel to this movie goes, what if all of the final girls got together? And I think that would be a really cool idea. Like, what if they, had to bust Tina out of a mental hospital or something?
Yeah.
Because they know she stands the best chance to fight Jason, something like that.
Dude, that's a good idea.
Like a Suicide Squad, like
Yeah.
the Psycho Squad or something. They come in and get her, bust her out.
He's got quite a few final girls.
Yeah, no, seriously. I mean, that's all who usually survives.
Damn. Yeah, that would actually be a really sick idea. And that's a really good idea going to free her. Yeah. Oh, damn.
From a mental asylum. Yeah, no, that makes sense.
I think that was my idea. I'm taking credit for that.
Dude,
I
love
in the
it.
documentary, they just talked about, maybe like a sequel where all the final girls got together. But yeah, I'll take credit for the insane asylum bit.
I had an alternate ending to this where it was, like kind of the same thing where you think she's tying Jason, like he's in the lake. She's like using her telekinetic abilities to like find something in the lake, and she finds that same boulder with the chain still on it, and she like lifts it out of the water and starts to tie him down, and she notices him like starting to get out, so she just like crashes the boulder on him, and he just like a bug explodes. Yeah, I thought that'd be like really cool, but then there'd be no 8.
Yeah,
or they'd find a way.
It can't end. No,
yeah, the body needs to somehow be intact.
Well, this movie, all right, so this was the 7th one. It has $2.8 million budget, and it made $19 million.
It's like, damn it, we can't stop. Like,
that's the
people
thing.
keep going to see it.
That's the thing. It's like they know it's bad. They know it's bad, but they can't stop. And I love that. But the next one actually kind of like derailed it. Like they stopped making him for a couple years.
Well, I think the thing of it too, and this is why they wanted to bring Freddy into it, is because those movies, the Nightmare movies, make like double what the Jason movies make. And I don't know if that's because the Jason movies come out like literally every year or what, but the Nightmare movies did better.
Yeah, the Friday series, I think, peaked with part 4 and then was on a steady decline for the rest of the 80s. But it was still such a small investment that, yeah, I mean, these movies made their money back over the opening weekend. So it was worth pumping them out. But by the end of the 80s, all of the series kind of dried up, Friday 5, Friday the 13th 8, Halloween 5, they all came out in 89, and that was kind of the beginning of the end.
If there's something you would want to see in one of the Jason movies that they never explored, what would it be?
Something that's constantly brought up among fans is a Crystal Lake set in the wintertime Jason movie.
Yeah.
Which, I don't know, there's just something really cool about that. And I wouldn't mind seeing some survivors from the other movies. So that would probably be my
winter. Yeah, this is a summer movie, Joe. Kids want to watch this in the summer.
Yeah, that if we're gonna switch it up, since the next one would be number 13, so I think we could switch it up a little bit.
Yeah, I like that Survivor idea because that's the one thing that also was missing from this series, with the exception of the Tommy Jarvis stuff, is the consistency of characters. Like, so I think that's what hurt it over Halloween and Nightmare on Elm Street. I don't know though. You're right, Joe. The winter one, somebody did it some indie version of that. Did you ever see that?
Oh yes. Well, the one I saw is called Never Hike Alone.
That's it. Yep.
Yeah, and it's actually pretty good.
It is.
If you're a Jason fan, it's worth checking out.
Yeah, it's like a guy that goes, I think he's trying to find his sister or something like that, and it's like one of those
Mhm.
found footage kind of things where he's got a GoPro and he goes to Camp Crystal Lake in the winter and Jason's there by himself and it's fucking good. Like,
I
It's all
usually
fan made.
yeah,
Yeah,
it's
and I
super
I
good.
usually stay away from fan films, but, this one is actually really well done,
Huh.
and actually, he just put out a sequel, and,
Ah,
I don't know if you saw that, but,
no.
there's some surprises in it,
Is
so
that with Lar Park Lincoln? I heard she did some kind of sequel to this or something too, like recently in like 2020.
I don't think she's in this one, but
Okay.
there might be a familiar face in it. I'm pumping it up like it's my movie, but
Spoiler.
it's worth checking out.
Well, I do have one direction I kind of wish it would go is I want to do a prequel to the original. I want to see what Jason's mother was like as a mother. I want to see if like
Mhm.
what that relationship was like. I want to see if maybe it was like they owned the land and it got like taken from them to build this camp or like what happened there. So that's what I would want to see as a prequel to the original.
Something similar to that is one thing I would like to know is like, yeah, like you said, Jason's mom. But I always thought it'd be cool if like Jason's mom had a twin sister and like it became like she's just as crazy as the mom and just like you killed my nephew and it's just like rehash that. Maybe bring in Jason's dad somehow. Like
Yeah.
he must be just as mad. It's like I never got custody of him because that cook from the camp took him away from me. Like
Yeah. No, I'd love to see Jason's family. Yeah, more about
yeah.
Jason, you
Yeah,
know?
just more about like what is this kid?
I
Yeah.
still wish we got Freddy versus Jason versus Ash, which
Oh
might have
yes.
happened way
It's
back when.
yeah, it's a little too late,
Have
I
you read the
think, for that.
comics for those, Joe?
I did, and they were pretty fun. Actually, when I was a kid, another comic series that I picked up was Jason versus Leatherface. I don't know if you guys
Ooh.
know that
Ooh.
those two got together back in the mid '90s.
I did not know that. How was that? Very quiet, I would imagine.
Yeah, well, you have Leatherface's family
Right.
involved. I think you need a supporting cast for that. But it was fun, especially in the '90s. The '90s was a real lean time for a lot of these characters. From Jason Goes to Hell in '93, we didn't get another one until '02, I believe. So
Yeah.
I would take anything I can get.
All I gotta say is if Harrison Ford at the age of how old is he? 78 now? Something like that. Yeah. If he's still making Indiana Jones films, Robert Englund, he can put on the glove again and he can fight Ash
Mhm.
and he could fight hopefully Kane Hodder as Jason. That would be so cool.
It's not out of the realm of
It's
possibilities.
not. It's not. And it's like Hollywood, I mean, they're kind of running out of ideas. Like,
I
how
don't know
many
if you
are they going to remake another Finding Nemo? Like, no, we got to make this. That's what I want to see.
I don't know if you guys know or not, but the Friday the 13th series is in like limbo because of
Mm.
some legal disputes. So who knows when we're going to see another one.
What are those disputes like?
The original writer, I think,
Yeah.
is suing Sean Cunningham, who directed the original and kind of owns.
Oh, that's a hell of a lawsuit with a
Yeah, so
lot of money behind it, I'm
it's
sure.
it's been going on for years, and we probably would have gotten more Jason movies if it wasn't happening.
You can notice though if you look at it's been the titles have been all messed up since the 80s because Friday the 13th Part 8 is the last one that has Friday the 13th in it. Because look at it, it's like Friday, the final Friday, Jason Goes to Hell, Jason X, and then Freddy versus Jason. Because Paramount won't release the ability to have the title be Friday the 13th anymore, unless
Didn't they the new remake though?
that's them. That's 100% them. So New Line, there's
Okay, New
there's
Line.
so much
Yeah.
shit going on with this. So yeah, like if it's gonna be Friday the 13th movie, it can only be released by Paramount.
Yeah,
Okay.
New Line, I think, own or the rights are such a mess.
You can own a day. You can own a day. I don't
They
know.
were able to use the character Jason, but I think that was it. Which I think is one of the reasons Jason Goes to Hell is so strange.
Yeah, I can't remember who, but it's either Sean Cunningham or Victor Miller, I think, is claiming I own like big, bulky, crazy Jason, and they own the story as a whole. So it's like there's
So
all
who
these
owns the mom?
the Sean Cunningham because he
Okay.
directed so like the original one I think Sean Cunningham is fighting the rights for, and then Victor Miller I think is being like, well, I came up with the big Jason idea, so all those movies is
The
my
hockey
idea.
mask. Yeah, the hockey
Yeah.
mask you didn't have. Yeah, okay.
So
Okay.
it's like a whole like legal battle about the character and the universe that they both kind of helped create. It's weird.
I don't know if you guys are very familiar with Friday the 13th Part 3, but there's this character in it. I think his name is Shelley, and the actor who played Shelley is now an entertainment lawyer, and every once in a while he takes to the internet to kind of explain to fans the latest in the Friday the 13th legal battle, which is pretty interesting.
Oh man, I probably just butchered it then. That's awesome he does that though. Well, you guys got any last thoughts on Friday the 13th Part 7, The New Blood?
I would love to talk about Friday the 13th Part 6 sometimes.
We'll do that. We'll do that soon. We'll do that soon.
Yeah, we definitely will. I guess maybe the next like Friday the 13th that actually comes up, like the day, we should maybe release one then.
The next one is my birthday, August 13th.
Oh, wow, Joe.
There you go.
If you want to
That'd
talk
be a
about
nice
that?
little birthday present.
Yeah, look at that. That worked out well. All right, perfect. I guess we'll be back with that one then.
I just want to say I love you, Lar Park Lincoln, if you're listening. We all love you very much.
Yeah, and if you ever hear this,
I'm sure you're listening.
Yeah, if you live in LA, like let's grab coffee, whatever.
We can talk. We can talk.
Yeah, just pick your brain. Anyways, you want to spin the wheel?
Yeah, let's spin the wheel. Let's spin the wheel. All right, here we go. Summer spinning. Oh, I know what you did last summer.
All right.
I know what you did, Alec.
I think everybody knows what everybody did last summer.
Like nothing.
Literally nothing. But Joe, thanks again, man. Seriously, always so great having you on.
No problem, guys. Always a pleasure, like I always say.
All right, but we'll see everybody next week with I Know What You Did Last Summer.